think that Marc knew he was going to file for divorce the next day while you were at this party?
I don't think so. I couldn't tell you what Marc was planning on doing right after the event. All I can tell you is he was not in a good mood at the event, and he seemed really agitated.
Just fine. I'm a hostess. I don't know why I can't move around.
Are you enjoying the ride?
No, I hate it. No, I hate it. Everybody knows that.
I kind of knew that, she, there were things that, concerned her about the relationship. But I was surprised that day because everything seemed to go so well with the event. I just wasn't expecting them to leave having an argument.
Right.
Right.
Is Marc happy? I don't know where he went to.
It's invasive. Tell them that's it. They can't film forever. If I come back down here, it's going to be ugly. I don't give a F. End it.
That was shocking to me. And I definitely didn't think that it was gonna be so bad that they had to separate.
When we were leaving the charity event, remember all the couples got together and we all took this group picture and then we all went our separate ways. The next morning, out of nowhere, on the blogs, it hits that Marc filed for divorce or something like that, and then Kenya responds, and that's when I called you.
Right.
Because I definitely didn't want to call her. I could only imagine how many calls she was getting. And I called you like, please tell me this is a lie.
No, I was completely shocked when I actually read it on the blogs as well.
She didn't tell you?
Nope. I read it on the blogs first, and then I spoke to her.
I know this is hard. I know you guys were having some issues. I know you shared a lot with both Kenya and I, but I did not. I had no idea that it was, I didn't know anything about the statements until I read them.
Well, he kind of forced my hand with that.
Kenya shared with me after the event that when they were preparing to leave, that he was kind of going back and forth with production, and someone was trying to, ask Kenya for a picture. He didn't like that, and then that kind of prompted an argument, and then they argued in the Uber on the way home, and then, things just kind of got crazy in the Uber.
I've seen him angry before. I've never seen him angry like that, where we're that close to each other. The Uber driver asked him to get out of the car.
The Uber kicked him out of the car, Kenya.
He asked him to leave because he started.
It was that crazy?
He was it got really out of hand.
I just felt like that was a major decision for them to just go from, we had a argument to now we're announcing divorce. Right. Like I felt like
my choice.
I know it wasn't your choice. So, we talked about that. Yeah. It wasn't her choice, but he made an announcement, so she made an announcement, and I just felt like they jumped the gun. I felt like maybe if you have this argument or whatever, and then you cool off, then you can come back, more with a clear mind and maybe talk things through.
Now, obviously, a big transition happened. You guys were working together, but then it sounds like it kind of blew up. What happened? What can you tell me about and I get it if there's only so much you want to talk about, but so far as you feel comfortable, what happened there? What was the transition?
I just think when people argue, I argue about what I'm actually feeling. My husband doesn't necessarily do that. He might be arguing with you about a pair of socks, but we already know you're not really mad about socks. You're mad about something else. So
he's indirect about it.
He's indirect about what he's angry about.
When you were at that event, did you have any sense that her relationship was in this level of trouble at that event?
No, they looked fine.
They looked fine.
She looked like the supportive wife.
I'm so happy to see you guys. Beautiful. Thank you. Well, my husband's big nice. I wanted to make sure I didn't embarrass him.
You'll be fine. She, was cheering for him. He acknowledged her in his speech. I thought, some other people said he didn't, but I thought I heard him acknowledge his wife. They looked fine. I didn't see that. I didn't see that coming.
Of that.
It was just all so weird because she had just texted us in our group chat, about us donating to his charity.
Yep.
And so then hours later, we see in the press that
Hours later.
there's possibly a divorce happening. Oh my gosh, Mommy. Oh my God. Should I text her? So it's like, wait, she just asked us to donate to his charity. This must have just happened this morning.
Yeah.
Or this afternoon. So I was like, he really must have, what do
Done
you
it
call
without
it?
her.
Yeah,
He-
what do you call it when,
Surprise, usurped.
it happened to me, I should know what it's called.
Blindside.
Blindsided. Blindsided is good
Yeah.
too.
Let me tell you, if I'm going through divorce, I'm not about to ask you to donate to nothing for him, okay?
Still haven't received Porsha's $5,000 check.
Really?
And yes, really. And everyone else.
It was Dennis, really. He's the one who said he was going to pay $5,000.
Well, on that note, some of the other ladies indicated that you were texting everybody trying to coordinate something to do with the charity, like getting, helping them
Or
pay
maybe
for the
with
charity.
the donations.
Yeah,
or
something like that. But you were
yeah.
still, it's
Yeah, I
for
was
them.
still-
It was like
But
you were
that's my
still.
nature. A lot of people don't know that side of me. I can put things aside and focus on the bigger picture, the greater good. And for me, it was still, I want to support my husband. I want this to be successful for him. And the whole point was to raise money for this awesome charity.
I mean, how do you do that? Where do you find the strength to focus and compartmentalize that way? I mean,
I think my ability to compartmentalize is from my mom, because if I had let her cruelty affect me, I probably wouldn't be here today. It's Kenya, and I wanted to speak to you. You can open the door so that we can talk.
Sooner or later, you have to stop. Open that door.
Excuse me. I'm just gonna wait down here.
She's in there.
You act like this new. This ain't new. Come on, let's go.
She's in there. I knocked on the door, and there was no response. And then I heard her say, "Don't answer the door." And so, in order to keep my emotions from destroying me, I had to put them aside.
wow. So you must have been surprised Kenya even showed up for the trip at all.
Well, what happened was
What?
she wasn't there at the airport. So we were all like, is she coming? We didn't know.
I knew she was
I
coming.
knew she was coming.
Why did you think she was coming? Why were you
She'd
sure?
been gone for a whole year, so I knew she was coming.
The first thing I said when we got to the airport was, I know some of you ladies have issues with Kenya. So I was like, can we just put that
Spare her,
aside and
yeah.
just let her be comfortable and just have a little compassion for the situation?
Like, we got to the airport and she wasn't there. She waited to come late. I'm not just gonna sit there on that delayed flight all that time with them. Like, she kills me. Like, who are you when you can't sit and wait for a damn delayed flight with all of us? Like, it kills me. Like, stuff like that does bother me with Kenya. You guys, that's crazy.
When I saw the headlines, I just reached out and just tried to pour some love real quick. And then, because she didn't text me back again, so I took that as she needed a minute. And when I saw her in Greece for the first time, she was completely back to normal. Hold up, is that Kenya?
Excuse me.
I made it, guys.
Woo!
Yeah, we're in Greece. We made it.
Are y'all ready?
She was just regular Kenya, and it was, let's have a good time, guys. I want to enjoy the day, blah, blah. So at that point, I didn't want to even bring it up at all or pull it to the side and say, girl, I know. I didn't even want to say anything. I wanted to just ride off of whatever energy she was giving. The way I addressed it in the group was to say, let's just have a good time. Let's deal with that at another time. Let's not even deal with that until she's ready, you know.
You don't wish that on anyone. I was like, I'm really sorry, and I'm glad you're here.
Did you start to feel a sense of healing in Greece? Were you able to, I mean, that's a big swing,
Yeah,
right?
because, you know, in some points, I can laugh, and dance or have fun and
But
be
even
friends.
the way we made them pick their rooms.
Yeah,
we started the trip out with fun.
We did start the trip out with fun, and I thought, okay, this could be okay. But in the back of my mind and what I told Cynthia and Kandi, I just know that those girls are waiting to find a moment where I'm most vulnerable and to hit me with all they have regarding Marc. I think that everyone was very supportive initially. But look, I knew it was coming. I just knew, I know these girls and I know how cruel they are. And I know that they will kick you while you're down. And I just knew that they were just going to find a moment to kick me.
I was just glad she decided to come along.
Thank you.
I, go talk to Nene, who's like she's in the room next to me. She ended up being next to me in the room. And I thought, you know what? I know, you and Kenya have not talked to work your stuff out, but I really want, tonight's our big dinner. Can we all just kind of be nice to her? She's going through a lot.
Yeah.
She's going through a lot. And, I even said to Nene, I was like, I think Kenya, you would be a great, this may be an opportunity for you guys to have a moment because you've been in a relationship longer than any of us. Mm-hmm. You've been married, you've been divorced, you've been married again. You went through cancer with your husband. I think you have a lot to offer to someone who is newly married.
Absolutely.
And she was quickly married. So she's basically getting to know her husband while she's married to him.
Right.
So I thought Nene could offer some golden nuggets to her.
Absolutely.
I really do.
I agree. I think she still can, personally.
Absolutely.
So Nene, were you receptive to what Cynthia was asking?
Of course. You never want to see a family break up. I mean, you just don't. It's always sad, So they had a new baby again. This is a new baby,
Gorgeous
and all of us are product of, single family homes. We didn't have our mom or dad or something. So it's, I'm sure Kenya wanted them to be a family because she didn't have a family. I'm never mad with you to the point where I'm like, I hope your marriage break up,
Absolutely.
I'm never mad with you like that.
So we're at dinner and everyone's kind of chiming in and saying all these beautiful things and, kind of talking about some of the things they've been through and just encouraging her, supporting her.
Everybody was kind of going around in the group and kind of offering her their support and just, their testimony to help her through whatever she was about to go through. When it got to Nene, of course, everybody's watching Nene closely, like, what is she gonna say?
Yeah, I didn't want to really give any advice. I just try to make a statement,
Kenya, I know that you and I aren't the closest, and that's fine. But I want you to know that obviously we all heard what's happened to you. And I've been through a divorce, Cynthia and Porsha, genuinely saying that I would really want to know if you're okay.
She was just so real and like telling her, like, listen, we are here for you. You are strong. You can get through this. And it was just very nice to see her try to empower what has been an enemy. It was just really nice to see her try to pour some love into Kenya in that moment. And I think that I saw Kenya receive it, which was also very special.
Obviously she's been in a marriage that's had its ups and downs. And I think she made a comment to me that sounded positive, like she was trying to give, a positive encouragement. You know what I mean? And obviously with their past, I just kind of felt like for her to give any type of positive encouragement, it was kind of like an olive branch, I felt.
And in the end, she thanked everybody except for me.
I actually really appreciate the fact that Cynthia and Kandi both came over and checked on me. And Porsha, I really do appreciate that you reached out to me. And I appreciate you being nice to me also. And Marlo.
Kenya didn't want no gems or golden nuggets from Nene.
Nene was saying something positive in the beginning, and it just felt like you just didn't want to receive her being positive.
Well, here's the thing that you guys don't see. It just seemed as though she was She was never looking in my direction. And it was like she was constantly trying to take the attention off of whatever I was saying to what she was saying. I pick up on everything. One thing about me, I read a room and I see everything that's going on. And I could just tell she is not sincere in being there.
Genuinely saying that I would really want to know if you're okay.
This is just not the right time.
And then Cynthia said, come, you guys, come with me. We're gonna go wash the dishes and let's leave Nene and Kenya here to talk for a few minutes. And she was like, no.
I would like Nene and Kenya to stay a little later in fellowship.
Okay, well, I'm going to sleep.
Me and my Bible is out. Love y'all, ladies.
I'm fine with fellowshipping.
Nope.
I was disappointed in Kenya because I just felt like the place and the space that she was in at that time, it didn't cost her nothing to just hear, just let Nene say something nice, girl. Just let the woman say something nice. She's over here trying to like mend friendships, you know what I mean?
She wasn't receptive. She didn't receive it at all. She just didn't. I don't know why. I do know why. I forgot.
Why?
Because it's good to be fighting with Nene.
That's it.
Yeah.
How did you forget that?
I'm like, it's just good to be fighting with Nene.
I think that for Nene to put that little olive branch out and then to have it sort of not received,
Oh, yeah.
she felt really hurt.
I'm fine with fellowshipping.
Nope.
She's reached out to Kenya before, but I will also give Kenya that, hey, I may not be ready to forgive you yet. Like, I mean, and so that has been the kind of thing in the past. Kenya hasn't been ready, and Nene's been kind of reaching out, and that is okay. However, in that moment, it was so real what they were doing together and kind of bonding in Kenya's hurt that it just would have been a good moment. I'm not faulting Kenya for still being upset and, you know, or however long it would have taken her. I just think in that little moment, they could have had something. But nobody ever asked Kenya why she didn't want to talk to Nene in that moment. So I think that is the question that we would need to, you know, that anybody would need to know, because to everybody else who was there, it was like, this is a good moment. But, you know, you have to ask her to see why she just didn't feel comfortable opening up in that moment.
When Cynthia left for us to speak, I thought, you know what, I was just vulnerable. I was just speaking to these girls about my situation. And here it is, the person I have the biggest issue with is who I felt like was being shady at the table already, is now trying to talk to me one-on-one, and I didn't want to open those can of worms and then us debating who's right and who's wrong. You said this to me, well, no, I didn't. And like going back to the petty reasons why she believes she's right in a situation with me.
Gotcha.
And I just could see steps and steps and steps of us just going down a black hole and it being bad. And I was just like, you know what, let's just leave it here, being positive. We'll speak another time. This is just not the right time. And I think that was reasonable. Because I didn't want it to make it be about me and Nene at that point.
Not on the first night. I get what
Not
you
on
mean.
the first night. Like, let's just give me a minute to like grieve and have some fun. And then when the time is right, let's talk. But the first night and sitting there and seeing how she was behaving at the table, I was just like, I just was not feeling it. And I have a right to feel that way.
The fact that she didn't want to talk, you know, it seemed like Nene took offense to it, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it was like, you know, because I guess, well, the way I took it, Nene felt like, you know, I'm trying to make an effort and she doesn't even want to talk to me. And then she was just basically saying like, well, it's not that I don't want to talk to her. I just don't want to talk right now.
Right.
And that wasn't
very
necessarily.
Right, very different.
Yeah, it wasn't communicated well and wasn't received.
The problem is you can't throw mud on me, I throw mud on you, we go back and forth, and then you decide, okay, I'm gonna stop throwing mud today, let's call it truce. Like, no, bitch, I'm still throwing mud. Like,
I think
we're still in the
that's-
middle of the fight. You can't decide you wanna pull out the fight
Right.
now, you done started the fight.
Right. Well, I think that was Kenya's position. She just
Absolutely.
wasn't receptive to it. Those were her reasons. You know me, little happy Pisces. I just was like, oh, you guys can,
Let's get over
can
it.
be good with this today.
So for room selection on this trip, you guys tried something a little different.
Well, K&K Productions, you know.
K&K Productions.
We just work really well together. So throughout the entire process, we were trying to figure out, what can we do to make this different? What can we do to make this fun? How can we make this exciting for the girls? And so we were always trying to come up with different ideas so that the girls could just like really get into it.
And so that we can be fair.
And so that we can be fair. Right, that's true.
With giving out the rooms.
So with the rooms, we came up with this idea to have them compete over the rooms because it's such a big deal on these trips, the rooms, right?
Oh, perfect.
Eva down there trying to close doors so can't anybody see it.
Oh, I like this room.
No, I already got it. I got it.
No,
Will you tell Tanya where she will be staying?
Marlo.
The bunk bed.
Even though Kandi always gets the best room.
This is Candy's room.
You got a room down there.
No, I didn't. I know. No, that's my room. I'm not moving. I'm not moving. I'm not moving.
I don't know why she always gets the best room. Even though I like my room better in Greece because I had a private pool.
Well, I liked my bathroom better.
Yeah, your bathroom was better. So we came up with this idea of how they would compete and win their room. We thought about like what was the grossest thing, what was the most fun, what would they be the most embarrassed to do, and so we just came up with these little games.
We thought of a few fun and interesting ways that you ladies can compete for your rooms.
Who wants to be the first tribute? This is the Hunger Games.
You gotta do it.
Oh, Lord.
What I gotta do?
Okay, fine, whatever. Let's go. I'm ready.
Let me tell you something. This season is like the Housewives of the Amazing Race. I have gone go-karting. I have eaten squid. I have gone to a bouncy class. What else have we done?
In the water full.
We went off the CN Tower.
Yeah.
I've been in the water. Like, seriously, this is the Amazing Race. I have done everything, and I still end up in a room. It had no windows. It had a fake
So I was trying to be
curtain that you would open to a brick wall.
But she doesn't
Let's
listen.
not talk about it.
She doesn't listen.
I didn't get the subliminal messages.
It
Let's
wasn't
just
even
move
subliminal.
on.
It was straightforward. Since I jumped in the pool, I was able to choose whatever room I wanted, period. Okay? So I was telling Tanya, choose the room downstairs and you take the guest room next to it, which was still very
I
nice.
still don't understand how this happened.
She chose the worst room.
I don't
Her
even
mama
understand.
grabbed it from her and she ended up in the worst room again.
Hold on.
No
1
windows.
second.
No
Let me,
windows.
please,
Nothing.
I don't even understand. But this is what I do know. Not a lot of stuff gets me down. That room
Kenya
was depresso.
And Kenya was mad too. She was like, "You tried to tell your friend." I was like,
Oh, yeah, she
but
was.
It didn't work. So oh well.
It was depresso. I just could not stay in that room. I hated it. Move along. Next question.
Anyway, it worked out because Tanya ended up getting the worst room, and that's the one she deserved to have. So.
Oh my gosh.
It's true.
Well, it wasn't
She's
really
the
necessarily-
she's
didn't pick up.
she has the least amount of seniority. She should not have a room better than someone who's been there for like 10 years.
In that instance, I get what
Yeah.
you're saying. I thought you were saying because of y'all disagreement.
No. It's like the girls that are she's only a year in. Why would she get a room nicer than some of the veterans that's been there for 10 years?
She's a freshman.
Yeah.
She has to
So
get
no,
at
you
least.
have to get in the closet. Go in the closet.
So tell me about Greece and, of course, your room selection and why you needed the room you did.
Well, I'm usually not super picky about my room, but I felt like I needed probably a little more privacy than some of the other ladies. I needed like privacy blinds. I needed like, maybe soundproof walls down there, because, I am in a long distance bi-coastal relationship. So there's quite a bit of attention paid to FaceTime.
I just want to be exempt from the shared room because I'm really feeling like I need privacy this trip.
Why?
She wants that phone sex.
We're FaceTiming.
Just say you have phone sex.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Mike and I, I have my duties, my FaceTime,
intimate moments with Mike, you know, just to kind of keep things, going, if you will, because I had, things to attend to on FaceTime with Mr. Hill.
If there was Apple TV, you could FaceTime on that. If that doesn't get you off, I don't know what will.
Yeah.
Like, literally.
Cynthia likes phone sex too? I like phone sex. Phone sex the best.
Oh my God.
It really is. This one guy, he was like, hey, man, we're gonna touch your boob. I'm like, oh,
Oh
Lord.
no, you had the right
I need
voice.
him to be a little deeper than me.
I can't. Oh my God.
Who are you having phone sex with?
Just friends.